Castro, Representative Barr.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for this very important hearing. And far from ceding Congress's authority to the executive branch, this entire exercise is about Congress reclaiming its important role in authorizing and reauthorizing the State Department. Thank you to our ambassadors for your service. I just returned from a bipartisan Codel from our embassy in Tokyo. I thanked our incredible Foreign Service personnel there in that spectacular embassy there and thanked them for their service. And I think our Foreign Service personnel who are forward deployed in embassies and missions across the globe and who do a great job representing our country and our values overseas, they deserve a reauthorized State Department that reforms in some cases the department, that in some cases economizes the department, rethinks and reimagines and modernizes the department, strengthens and in some cases refocuses the department. I think our Foreign Service personnel and our diplomats deserve that. And that's what this entire opportunity presents. I'd like to take my time to clear the air on some negative press that this administration has received for this much-needed reorganization of the State Department. Critics have argued that cuts and reviews undermine American soft power and damage alliances with our allies, but our own Secretary of State and other senior officials have said that's not true. Secretary of State Rubio recently stated, "We're going to be involved in those things, caring about human rights, but it's going to be run at the embassy and regional level, not out of some office in Washington, D.C." Speaking on the America First trade agenda, Secretary Bessent said, "America First does not mean America alone. To the contrary, it's a call for deeper collaboration and mutual respect among trade partners." Tammy Bruce, spokesperson for the State Department on reorganizing U.S. aid, said that don't mistake a change for indicating that something is gone. It was never about us abandoning our commitment to funding of any kind, but it's going to look different, and now it will. It will actually be going to be within a functional framework. Secretary Rubio said about diplomacy in the Middle East, this is not a president that's looking to start wars. He's a president that's looking to stop the Houthis and prevent them. That's why we've been focused on Ukraine, and that's why we're having talks with Iranians. We're committed to achieving a peaceful outcome that's acceptable to everyone. We want to achieve a peaceful resolution and not resort to anything else. Ambassador Jeffrey, do you see the need for consolidation and more streamlined processes at the State Department and more focus? And how could it be actually beneficial to advancing American foreign policy?
Yes, I do. I think, first of all, it's important that whatever this or any administration does, it reflects a general thrust of policy that we can be sure the next administration, regardless of Republican or Democratic, will follow. When we deal with countries and they say yes to something we're asking, they're making an investment, just like people do in the stock market, and they're investing in an assumption that there'll be returns on this. It's somewhat transactional, and thus predictability and consistency are important. So anything that streamlines the organization and makes it more efficient will help. Again, the devil is in the details on what you throw overboard, but there's a lot of stuff that needs to continue. Again, focus on the operating elements of the Department of State. Those are the geographic bureaus. Those are the people who, even though they're only assistant secretaries, they spend much more time with the Secretary of State than most other people in the building, and they're his or her operating arms. They're very important to empower.
Well, I do think that refocusing and reorganizing really could enhance morale among our diplomats and give them additional mission and purpose. One final question about China. In this new era of great power competition, where should the State Department focus its efforts with respect to competition with the PRC? And should we think seriously about some of our diplomatic efforts that actually push would-be partners into the arms of China, like our the previous administration's efforts to push against a domestic law in Uganda that actually encouraged China to build a Belt and Road project there?
Well, I was involved when I was undersecretary in a major reorganization effort to confront the problem that we faced in China, because the organization, while the Washington consensus, as they say, had shifted and recognized the problem, the bureaucracy had not. And so we took the positions that were liberated out of Baghdad, Basra, and Kabul as circumstances changed there, and assigned them to the China team. A lot of people wanted them to be sent to China, and I was one of those arguing, and successfully so, against too much of that. Instead, we needed those resources and those people, which are our main resource at the State Department, to be on the front lines where we were dealing with the invidious Chinese influence, and that included international organizations, as well as different countries in the world, and you mentioned one of them. And so we did I think, a pretty impressive exercise in gathering data to understand exactly what the nature of the Chinese threat was in every country in the world, both business, security, public diplomacy, all the different categories of influence, and decide where were the countries where, frankly, it was too far gone, that resources were wasted there. Where were the countries where there was still competition, and where was the competition needed? And then to make sure that our country teams in each of those places had the resources and the strategy to deal with it, because how you deal with China and Thailand is going to be different than how you deal with it in El Salvador. And then to proselytize with our people to make sure they understood that whatever you were doing before, now China was at the top of your list. And I think we made great inroads.
Well, I have great respect for our diplomats, and that's exactly why I support this reauthorization process to continue to strengthen the department. I yield back.
I now